I'll just give you a overview of what is advanced bank reconciliation and how we can do it in Dynamics. Just an overview I'll give you. Okay. So advanced bank reconciliation is a process where you don't manually do the reconciliation. You don't take the transactions manually by holding the bank statement in your hand or by keeping it in the other tab. You don't tick or mark the transactions. System will automatically match the transactions in the bank statement to the transactions that are in the Dynamics books, bank books here. So it will automatically match those and clear them or reconcile it automatically. So how system has to match and how it takes, we have to give conditions. For the matching conditions we have to give for matching of transactions. So we will see that part. But to have the transactions in place in order to match with the bank statement, we need to have bank statement uploaded into Dynamics. So there is a place where you can upload the bank statement, but that bank statement should be in a specific format which Dynamics accepts. There are certain standard formats like BIA2 as, or we have one more ISO 222, then we have MT 940 format. So these are the few formats wherein Dynamics accepts the bank statement. To better, we can import the bank statement if once the import is successful by using one of these formats. So these formats will be in XML format. Files will be in XML format. It's not Excel, it's XML. It would look, you can see the web version of XML, how it would look like. You can understand how an XML format looks like. So who provides these bank statements in XML format? So mostly banks only will provide the statements according to our requirement. Most of the banks these days are providing customized documents if the client requires it, because we do a lot of business with that through that bank, right? So they'll provide. If not, you have to take the bank statement from the bank and you have to format it. So you might need some technical assistance to format it in this particular format. Okay. So once this is uploaded, you will see two screens in the reconciliation. So in one screen you will see bank document, bank statement transactions, bank statement lines, I would say. In one screen you will see bank statement lines. In the bottom screen you will see bank book lines here in Dynamics. Bank book lines in D365 you can see. So you will have a line in between. So in the top you will see those transactions, in the bottom you will see those transactions, and you will see like both of them will be knocked off. Transaction on the top will be ticked and transaction in the bottom will be ticked if at all it matches the criteria. So how does it system knows the criteria and how it will match, that we will configure further. Okay, according to that configuration, system will match the lines in the bank statement that we have uploaded with the transactions in the books, and it will automatically reconcile it. So this is the basic process we do in advanced bank reconciliation. Okay, to use an advanced bank reconciliation for a particular bank account, suppose I'll go for cash and bank management. I will go for bank accounts.
JP, share the screen.
I'm sharing the screen, I think. Don't you guys able to see my screen? Sheshu.
Yes.
Okay. Sairam, I think you have to relog in. Try it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. Suppose that I go for bank accounts. For this, we have done manual bank reconciliation, right? So let's leave it for that. For this SBI bank account, suppose if we want to do advanced bank reconciliation, we have to enable this parameter in the bank master data. In the bottom, we have reconciliation here, menu. In this reconciliation menu, we have to enable this advanced bank reconciliation. If I enable this, then I'll get another two more options here. Okay, and I told you while I was creating bank, while we were working on this creation of bank, I told you one point about this. Did anybody remember what is that? It's a key point about enabling this parameter.
Once we enable it, we can't revert it back.
Correct. Once we enable a bank reconciliation, advanced bank reconciliation for a particular bank account, we can't change it back. So that's one limitation we have. So I see all the parameters are disabled. There are options are disabled. They will be enabled only once I enable this one. So I'm trying to enable this for this bank account. It shows me a pop-up. Advanced bank reconciliation allows you to import and reconcile bank statements with bank transactions. After this is activated, it cannot be turned off. The same it is saying. I click on OK. So now you can see, once I click on OK, you can't turn it off. It's grayed out. And you see these options getting enabled. And you see, you have two more things here: bank statements, bank transactions. Two more options under reconcile. So this one is previously there, bank reconciliation, reconcile and unreconcile. These two are additional now. Okay, here as you can use bank statements as confirmation of electronic payments. So you can use this option to generate bank documents when this is made, and you can give the allowed penny difference according to the bank document transactions to your transactions that you have recorded in system. There are sometimes you can record your transactions to the penny amount, but in banks they might round it off to the nearest number, or to the, I mean, it can happen, or in business you might round it off to the nearest number, but in bank they might record the accurate numbers according to the cent. So in that case, the allowed penny difference between those two transactions from bank statement to our Dynamics is what we have to give here. Then we have to select the statement format. So actually we have to configure a statement format. It's just a rough format I created. To create a statement format, again we have to do it from here, where in here bank statement formats. So once we configure here, we will take it. So but bank statement formats configuration requires some technical assistance, and it has to be done in this formats only, as I told you. Okay, and all of them are into XML format only. Then you can give that statement format here. Then you give the bank name in the statements. If it is SBI Bank, you will give the State Bank of India is the name that you have in the bank statement generally. So that name will be, you can give here. So here you have automation, reconcile after import. Immediately once after importing that bank statement, it will, system will start reconciling automatically. Okay. If not, if you do not enable this parameter, what system does is system will not reconcile it. System will import the documents, I mean match the transactions, and it will wait for you to click on reconcile. Okay, but if I do this and if I enable this, system will automatically reconcile and also post the reconciliations, clear the reconciliation, I mean. So that's one parameter we have here for control. Then default matching rule set, we can define a matching rule set here and give it here. So the matching rule set actually we have to configure in the setup here. Under setup we have this matching rule set. So here we can set up this, how system have to match, or how transactions has to be matched from bank imported transactions to the Dynamics transactions, how it has to do, we have to configure there. So these are the few things we have here. So before we have to fill all this, we have to configure all this under setup here. In cash and bank management, under setup we have advanced bank reconciliation setup. So under setup we have 4 steps: bank statement format, transaction code mapping, transaction matching rules, and reconciliation matching rule sets. So these 4 we have. Let's see what we have in bank statement format here. So normally here we have to configure a format. As I told you, you need some technical assistance to configure this format types and how it should look like and all. So here we can see there is one rough format called SBI and SBI statement created. Processing group they have created as a bank, we can give, and I have ticked it for XML file. Okay, it's a global form actually, not for a specific legal entity, it's a global form. So I can see this another company's format that is roughly created. Tick it as Excel, so I can see it as an XML format, XML file. So this is one. Then we have to configure this one, transaction code mapping. So let's see what is in this one. Normally in transaction code mapping, you have your own transaction codes, right? In bank transaction types in system, like 01 for cash deposit, 02 for cash payments, cash withdrawals, then for check payment one code. In the same way, the statement that is given by bank for their, in that also, according to the nature of the transaction, there might be transaction codes. So to match that codes in the bank statement that is imported to the system defined bank transaction type codes that we have in Dynamics, that so we have to give that matching configuration here. So if I click here on new and I can select a bank account. So I can select this bank account since this is the only one we have for advanced bank reconciliation SBI one. System shows only one account. Here I can add the mappings. So here bank transaction type I can select cash deposit. So here it is showing as cash deposit. So in my bank statement it might be showing as CD code. So then CD will be matched with 01. So that's my condition I'm giving. So according to this, transactions will be matched from bank statement to bank. I mean, in the Dynamics document. In the Dynamics, for every transaction we have this bank transaction type, right? We are assigning for every bank transaction we are assigning this one. So in the bank statement that we import, we have this kind of codes. I mean, there can be different codes. I mean, bank might have their unique codes, right? So according to that, we will give this matching condition so that in during the advanced bank reconciliation, system will automatically match those codes. Suppose if I say like CP, it's like cash payment, we can go for 02. Then CW, cash withdrawal, I can give, where is cash withdrawal? We don't have cash. Here we have cash withdrawal, right? Then we have CCP, assume it as check payment. Okay. So we can select, sorry, not this one. Check payment is this one. CCD, cash check deposit, we can select as check receipt or check deposit, anything. So in this way, we can map the transaction types. The bank will have unique transaction code for every transaction depending on the kind of transaction it is, and we have this in our system, so we can map both of them so that system will have a idea of which transaction has to be marked for reconciliation. Okay, nature of this transaction and nature of this transaction is same, so it will also see for the other criteria when it is posted, the date as well as the amount. So if everything matches, then system will knock it off or clear those two transactions. So the remaining conditions of date and amount we can give it in the next page. Okay, the next page is this one, reconciliation matching rules. Here in the reconciliation matching rules, generally we can define. So this is a global page again. We have all this from the other legal entities which I have configured previously. So I'll click on new to configure a matching rule. So for this SBI bank only, right? So I can give it as new SBI. Okay, just in new SBI, or I can delete it and give it in another way, like, sorry, not this one. SBI MRF, right? So SBI MRF. So here I have certain conditions. So how system has to handle matching with bank documents, how system has to clear reversal statement lines if there are any reversal transactions, how system have to handle them, how system have to handle the new transactions. So we can give conditions here and we have to activate it once after defining the conditions. First, let us start with this one, match with bank document. You can normally select this match amount. So amount has to be matched. If at all two transactions has to be reconciled, comparing from bank statement to Dynamics, amount has to match, right? So match amount is one we have. So we can also allow a specific difference amount. How much difference can be allowed? Like up to $1, I can allow the difference. There is a slight difference also up to $1, like in cents. System will automatically match those two or clear those two and reconcile it. And then match date. So date also has to be matched. There are situations where transaction that is debited today in our books can be debited tomorrow in the bank. There are situations like it can take some more time also, like 2 to 3 days. In that case, you can also give allow date difference like 2 days or 3 days according to your wish. If you don't want to give, if you don't tolerate any date, it just has to be on the same date, then you can give it as 0. Normally we can give 2 days lenient so that if any transactions are delayed posting in bank or in our Dynamics books, system will automatically reconcile them according to this date tolerance. Then match document number, Document number is nothing but the check number or the invoice number. If there are any such numbers, system will automatically match it. So in our bank transactions, we normally have these numbers, right? Document number, check number we have, and we have other numbers too. So that will be matched. Match transaction type. So we have configured how to match transaction types in the previous screen. So we can enable that option to match the transaction type, so that system has to exactly match the transaction types according to the previous screen configuration we have done. Then match the payment reference. For every transaction we are doing bank transaction, there is a field called payment reference. There you can enter the payment reference number. So if you give this condition, system also have to match the payment reference number with the bank statement line with the to the payment reference that you have given in the bank transaction that you have posted in Dynamics. So all these criteria has to be matched. So you can also give lenience that this criteria is not needed. This has to be matched, or if this is also not needed, just this has to be matched, just like that. Okay, this kind of criteria we normally give for matching the transactions. So once you define a proper criteria, system will automatically reconcile the match the transactions according to the bank statement to the Dynamics transactions, and it will reconcile it automatically. So that's the one matching process. So you can basically explain in the interview. I mean, you know the process, but you did not work on it, and you can say like these are the matching criteria we can define how system have to handle the reconciliation, and we can give the tolerance amount for balance as well as for dates. You can also say like we can configure this transaction types mapping, and so that system will understand the logic of how to reconcile the transactions. So I think that would be all, guys. I mean, there is a lot of thing if we explore in advanced bank reconciliation, but have this basic overview. If at all everything is in place configured, then you can do advanced bank reconciliation for this bank account. Suppose if I go for this bank account again, this SBI, you can go for bank statement here. So if I go for bank statement in this screen, I think we can upload the bank statement. Clicking on bank statement, click on new. Sorry, what happened? Why I came back? So SBI Bank, or go back SBI Bank, bank statements, new, or import statement from here. You can do it. So you can import a statement from here. I mean, not this one. You can enter the opening balance and ending balance. Actually, it does take it, but let me show you this deletion, and let me try import statement. Through here we can import a statement. I mean, we have to define the import format, then select the bank account for which you want to do advanced bank reconciliation, then the statement format like this SBI format, then browse the file from your folders for importing, and once after it is browsed, click on upload. Here you have option once again, reconcile after import. If you enable this, it will automatically reconcile. If you disable this, it will just match and keep the transactions like that. You can go overview and click on reconciliation. Okay, this is one part. Then coming back, I have another options like bank transactions. This one is when we have only one transaction for my bank account for now. So I think this is normally showing the bank transactions only. Next we have bank reconciliation, reconcile transactions and unreconciled transactions. In bank reconciliation, we generally have to, we'll get that here. I mean, the statement, once we import it, we'll get the details here. You can give the cutoff date, statement ID. If the statement is already imported, then we go for worksheet. In this, normally we find them, I think. Here you can see, right, two screens, bank statement transactions this side, bank transactions this side, two screens. Okay, So according to this, I mean, both of them will come side by side if at all you import the statement, and it's a transaction will be automatically selected here. I mean, it will be ticked automatically for reconciliation. You can see the matched transactions in the below screen here. All the matched transactions can be seen here. Then bank statement transaction details, you can see here what is the amount of total transaction that we have imported, and the details you can see here in this menu. Okay, it's a very big process. If I would say, like, we have to follow 10 steps to successfully run an advanced bank reconciliation. Okay, mostly the retail sector companies who have lot of bank transactions within a day use this advanced bank reconciliation process to achieve their reconciliations quickly, to reduce the manual intervention and save the time of the users. So they use this process. Okay, keep this screens in mind, just on the overview of the process in mind. So I explain the same in the interview. Okay, not go beyond it saying that you know everything. Just say that you just only have the overview and you did not get a chance to work on it in your client place on the advanced bank reconciliation. Okay, and that would be all. Let me know if you have any doubts here in this. Anyone? No? Yes, no? Okay, let's go for the next topic then. We only left with few topics in bank reconciliation. I think we have worked on most of them, I mean the necessary things. Coming to reports, inquiries and reports in Dynamics in cash and bank management, we have quite few reports. So coming to inquiries and reports, we have these details: balance control for bank accounts. So you know how balance control works normally. If I click on balance control here, I can see the balance control details for two banks. I mean, how much is balance is there, how much it is booked in journals. After posting those booked journals, how much will be the pending amount, remaining amount, I can see here. I mean, if I exclude these two cash, we have configured it for balance control previously. And these two bank accounts you can see here. So before journals, I have this balance. It is booked in journals for this balance, which are not posted yet. If at all I post it, this would be the ending balance after those journals are posted. This is just a bank balance control overview of the bank accounts. Then I have bank account balance report. So wherein I can see my bank account balances. Since we have only two banks, we can normally see the balance. But if there are many banks within the business, then we can run this report to see the available balances in the bank account. So it's taking some time to run the report. No problem. Let's see. You can explore more on these reports if if you're interested. Okay. Uh, so you can run it on screen or in the background. If you can also run it in the batch job, but I want to run it on the screen, so I'll click on OK. It will run on the screen, so it takes some time to load. So you can see this report's a very small report, but it took a lot of time. So ICICI Bank, we have 20,000 balance. Coming to SBI Bank, we have overdraft balance of 1500. So bank account balance and accounting currency balance. If it is a foreign currency bank account, we can see the converted balance in the accounting currency in case. So this is one small report. Other than this, the important reports we have here. We have bank transactions report, bridge transactions report, checks and check statistics. So bank transaction report, you normally have all the transactions of the bank. You can select for both the banks or for one bank. So here you can find the transaction, or if you want transactions, you can directly go to bank account, bank transactions and export all of them into Excel file. So here you can select the bank, ICICI Bank. You can also select a date criteria from which date to which date. Here you can give it if you feel like, but I'll run it for all dates. See, so it generally shows me the same screen where I can see bank transaction. If I go to bank account and I click on transaction, then also I'll see the same screen, right? So it's the same, no specific report for it. Then go for checks. You can see the checks menu, the checks for all the bank accounts until now we have in system. So some are paid, some are cancelled, some are voided, some are just in created status which are not yet used. And you can see checks of all the banks here. Okay, it's just a small inquiry. Then we have this check statistics as one which can use to understand what we have done with checks. It takes time to load because it's a report. The previous ones are generated because they are just inquiries. So from this date to this date, okay, click on screen. So I can see transactions, check statistics list in ICICI Bank. These are the checks we have printed in ICICI. Most of them are cleared. So this is showing outstanding because I think this is already reversed, right? I mean, the status is just showing outstanding. Ignore this, actually it's reversed. I mean 1400, and you can see the reversal transaction also. The remaining we can see cleared. This one is voided. I think this 1500 is a post-dated check. I think it's also cancelled. We have done cancellation for this one as well. This post-dated check, as far as I remember. Okay, that's the thing. I mean, we can see this check statistics in this report. Other than this, we can have deposit slip reports. If at all we have posted some deposit slips, we have seen it, but we don't have one currently. Then we have payment summary by vendor report. For one vendor, you can see the payment summary by vendor, how much payments you have done for a vendor. You can include one vendor or set of vendors. You can also change the criteria here by filter. You can run this report and you can see the payments done for individual vendor. We only have one vendor account, right? So I think it shows only the report for one vendor. So here vendor number MRF001 Maruti Suzuki. We have done these many payments using the bank account, ICICI as well as SBI. And also we have references, check numbers 101, 102, check number 1 here for SBI, 103. So using all these checks, we have paid the vendor. Okay, that's with some payment summary by vendor. Then payment summary by date generally shows the same kind of payments with according to the date. It is not for the vendor but for the dates. Then we have bank reconciliation report. You can see the unreconciled bank transactions which we have. So we have quite few unreconciled transactions. I mean, most of them are reconciled only. We can run the report. Bank statement you can print here. So period you can say starting from 1st of September to today's date, which bank account, ICICI, print the bank statement. I mean, it prints the statement according to our Dynamics books. So here is the bank statement. You can see the bank transaction types posted according to the dates I think we have here. Or I mean, they are categorized by on the basis of bank transaction type. Here you can see bank transaction type blank 1 and 1, 2, 4, 5. So organized according to the bank transaction type. You can export this report into any format that you wish to, and you can use it. Okay. Then other than this, we have quite few reports. Nothing, that would be all I think. I mean, the important reports we have in bank. So like cash and bank consultant, I mean cash and bank management user can access these reports and print these reports according to their convenience. Okay, so other than this, what topic we are left over in the cash and bank management is this cash and bank management parameters. We have seen most of the parameters actually. It's under setup here in cash and bank management. Click on cash and bank management parameters. We only have quite few parameters for in cash and bank management. First is general. Here you can give a journal name for use for posting transaction type for non-sufficient funds. You create normal transaction type, right? You can create one more transaction type as 14 as NSF, not sufficient fund. So whenever we post any non-sufficient fund charges journal, suppose when check get bounced, we have to pay the non-sufficient fund charges. So for that, this transaction type will be picked automatically. Okay, from here. Next is yellow checks for bank or ledger accounts. Normally we can print checks only when we use bank account. But if I enable this, I can also print checks using ledger account as the offset account. Sometimes it's possible. I mean, in when we use this post-dated checks, ledger account will used in offset, right? So you can use this. Then yellow check reuse option. So when I enable this yellow check reuse, I can reuse the same check number again. Same check number I can enter, but it's only for the free checks for the banks with free checks. For fixed checks, anyway, if check is used and damaged, you can't use the same check number, right? Because in fixed checks you have another number in order. You can't. That check is the gone with that. But in free check numbers, we can reuse the numbers. Okay, so for that purpose, we can use this parameter. If this is disabled, we can't reuse the check numbers. That's all. Then for reversals, use review process for payment reversal, use review process for deposit slip payment cancellations. This we have seen already. For check reversals, if we enable this parameter, it uses the review process rather than automatically posting the reversal entry. System will use the review process, or we can go and review the journal and we can post it, I mean the reversal transaction. So for that purpose, we can use this review process. Then require reason code for payment reversal and require reason code for deposit slip payment cancellations. So as I told you, while we were reversing any checks or deposit slip, we have to compulsorily give a reason code. So we have to compulsorily give reason code only when you enable this parameter. So require a mandatory reason code if I enable this parameter. If I disable it, I mean reason code is not mandatory. You can also reverse it without a proper reason code. But normally they keep it to have a control, and users will assign a proper reason code why they are reversing that particular check and all. Okay. Coming to pre-notes, it's not related, or we are not configuring the pre-notes. Then non-negotiable payment copies, yellow copies of payments. So this option will let users print the copies of payments like checks, promissory notes. You can print more copies if you feel to print. Okay. So if you don't want to print copies or regulate users from printing copies of this, you can stop it. You can enable it, as up to you. Coming to bank credit limit tolerance, this one. So we have the option of giving credit limit for bank. So minus amount we will give, right? So if it is exceeding, how system have to handle this? None means it won't throw any error message or it won't give you any warning. If say warning means it will give you a yellow color message like warning saying that you are exceeding the tolerance limit or the credit limit tolerance. Check or review it, it says, but it will not stop you from posting such a transaction which is exceeding the credit limit. But if I say error means it will definitely stop you. It will not allow the user further from posting that for posting the transaction when it exceeds the bank credit limit. Okay, that control is here. Either it has to be none or warning or error. Okay, keep this point in mind. So this letter of credit and letter of guarantees we are not using here in in this particular demo we are not discussed, and I don't see any clients using them also in normally in Dynamics. But if there is a chance, you can go through it. There are a lot of documents in Dynamics. MS Docs. You can go through it if you feel like. Then let's go for bank reconciliation. You have show statement lines in amount, statement line amount in debit or credit. So this is only for advanced bank reconciliation, these setups. Okay. Show statement line amount in debit or credit. So when a statement is imported, how it has to be shown in the other screen. We have seen two screens, right? Left and right. So how it show and validate date difference. It has to be validated. So you can give the 2 days same difference that you have given there in the conditions. You can give the same, so it will validate the date difference also. Validate transaction type mapping. We have given transaction type mapping, right? For cash deposit we gave CD and 01, then CP02, like that, so that it will also validate those transaction type mappings also. So both the date as well as transaction type mapping validation is precisely done only when you enable these parameters here in the bank reconciliation page in cash and bank management parameters. Then we have post-dated checks. I think we have seen this already. So this here we give the clearing account for or the bridging account for vendor post-dated checks. Then clearing account for received check. Received checks means we receive from customers. So we can also give one account here. When accounts receivable module, when we do it, we will definitely give another account PDC customer, and we will work on that one also. Enable post-dated checks is one we have. So when we enable this only, then we can use post-dated checks in system. So this is main parameter. Then post journal entry for posted checks. Select this option to transfer or post financial transaction to clearing accounts for a vendor or a customer. If do not select this option, the posted check information is registered but financial transactions are not posted. It's saying like post journal entries for post dated checks. So we need, right? Normally when we generate a post dated check, we'll get a journal entry, as well as when we clear a post dated check, we will get a journal entry. So this has to be mandatory. Again, we need to have that clearing entry as well as the original post dated check entry. Then here we have one journal for clearing entries. Journal for clearing entries. We have seen this. We cleared one of the transaction through vendor post dated checks and seen how automatic transaction is posted for the clearing entry, and system automatically took this journal from here, from this journal. Then transfer post dated checks to this vendor payment journal transaction. Select this vendor of payment journal that the posted check transactions are recorded in. Post dated check transactions are recording. This field is available only if you check post journal entries for post dated check option. If you enable this one, then only I'll see it. Normally we can select a default journal through which we can post the post dated checks for the vendors. So this is the default journal, right? Vendor payment journal. You can also maintain another default journal. You can use other journal also, for post dated checks. Just for default sake, we have this journal, that's all. We can also give a main account for withholding tax clearing. So there are situations where withholding tax is applicable because withholding taxes or the TDS is applicable only at the time of payments. So for clearing those withholding tax accounts, you can also give a withholding tax clearing account here. Post-dated checked withholding tax clearing account you can give here. Okay, that one can also be configured if in case there is withholding taxes that are withheld during the payment type. So we will see that part in tax module. Okay. Then number sequences we have. There are different number sequences for deposit slips. We have a number sequence for bank reconciliation. Yesterday we have seen new transactions are created, right? So for that new transaction, the vouchers are taken from this number sequence. For free notes, for statement ID, in case if there are upload of statements, and download ID and reconciliation ID. it will automatically take from here letter of guarantees and letter of guarantee numbers. For this is purpose, number sequences are here. Okay, mostly we'll use this deposit slip and bank reconciliation, right? So from here, those number sequences will be taken for new transactions we created in bank reconciliation yesterday. Numbers are taken from here. So we have yesterday we came here and changed the format. So for posting deposit slip, system automatically takes a unique deposit slip number. So that will be taken from this number sequence. We'll change this format when we do with deposit slips in accounts receivable module. Okay. I think that would be all. The new parameters that are added is for bank reconciliation. There is one parameter where you can cancel the already done bank reconciliation. That parameter is added in the new version of Dynamics. Okay, remember that point as well. So I told you yesterday during reconciliation, I explained how that parameter can be used. I think that would be all about cash and bank according to our course content in cash and bank management. Let me see if we have missed anything. Check mechanism done. Except deposit slips, we have discussed all of them. I think yes. So tomorrow, the same time we'll begin with the accounts payable, and we'll see all the early setups in accounts payable, how what is accounts payable and what details in accounts payable. Okay. To practice it, cash and bank looks small, but it's an important module since it's integrated with multiple payments like vendor payments, customer payments, and all. So within cash and bank, the important things are the check configuration, check reversals, then bank account, bank reconciliation is one, and then uh, reversal of checks. I told you already, and deposit slips is also important. So post dated checks is very important. Okay. Take some time to practice this module as well. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubts, guys. Today I took it a little quick because it's just an explanation. There is no process activities that we are doing. Okay, keep these key points in mind also about the parameters. So that would be all. We can meet in tomorrow's class since I also have some work to do now. I'll be leaving the class early. If you have any doubt, just post it in the group. Okay, I'll just stop the